Hey everybody, welcome to the 2020 Greater LA Food Rescue Workshop. My name is Alyson Schill and I'll be your host and MC for the morning and afternoon. And I wanted to welcome a very special guest for our first presenter today. He's from the Department of Sanitation. His name is Gerry Villalobos. Oh my gosh, I murdered your name. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
An environmental specialist too. So let me see if I can share my screen here and hope you guys get started. All right. All right, can everybody see? Can you see that, Gerry?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
All right. So good morning, everybody. And I'd like to welcome everybody on behalf of LA Sanitation to the Greater LA Food Rescue Workshop. I was asked to present today because my boss, Michelle Mikesell, unfortunately had another engagement that she could not get out of. But I'd like to thank Athens Services and elePlate, Alyson, and Jessica for putting this great workshop together. As we all know, there's a huge need for food to provide to insecure residents of LA County. We're all aware that 1 in 10 residents in LA County are food insecure, and either 2 or 3 of those are children. Given the crises that we've had with COVID, there's only been a greater need of what the food rescue programs do for people who have been heavily impacted by the COVID crisis. Next slide, please. So again, my name is Gerry Villalobos. I'm an environmental specialist too with LA Sanitation, and I work as part of our diversion group with the Recycla program. And for those of you who may not know, next slide. So what is Recycla? Recycla is a private-public partnership between the City of Los Angeles and 7 private waste haulers, which we like to call Recycla service providers. In 2017, the city entered into a commercial franchise agreement with these 7 haulers, and they divided the city into 11 commercial zones. Within those 11 commercial zones, we have just a little over 65,000 customers, and that moves depending on, there's always going to have people that sign up for service, people who come off of service, but for the most part, we're at about 65,160 customers, and that includes multifamily properties, which are 5 units or more, and commercial businesses. There are certain entities that are exempt from Recycla, for example, the school districts, state and county government buildings that are located in the city of Los Angeles, as well as the Cal State and the UC system. But all other customers within the city of Los Angeles must enter into agreements to have service provided by one of the 7 Recycla service providers, depending on what zone within the city that they are located. Next slide. So here's our world-class Recycla service providers. We have Waste Management, Athens Services, Republic Services, Universal Waste Systems, CalMet Services, NASA, and WARE. And here's a map just showing the 11 zones. We have large zones and small zones. The downtown area is divided into 3 smaller zones, so that allows for the smaller companies to participate and be a part of the Recycla program. And then the larger guys are cover the remaining zones. Our zones range from about 1,200 customers all the way up to about 12,000. So the 12,000 customers would be in the South LA area, which is in the center of the map, and that's serviced by Republic Services. To the east, CalMet services our East Downtown Los Angeles zone, and that's about 1,200 customers. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, LA is already ahead of most jurisdictions because of our first of a kind commercial franchise program. We do have other cities throughout the country that are looking at what we've done and not necessarily trying to mirror what we do, but take the stuff that's working and maybe not include the stuff that they think won't work for them. When we first rolled out in 2017, it was a monumental task. It took about 8 months to roll out and enroll all of the 65,000 customers. Each of the 7 RSPs had their zero waste representatives that went to each of the businesses. They did a waste assessment to properly size them, to ensure that they had adequate service levels and ensure that they have trash collection and that they have the recycling, which is a huge component of the Recycler program. And one of the other aspects that we are really proud of is the food rescue component. And what this does is this mandates the 7 RSPs to help fund the nonprofit food rescue and material reuse organizations. And I'll talk about that just a little bit. So what it is each RSP determines who they're going to partner with. LA Sanitation doesn't play a role in that other than to vet whoever the 7 RSPs partner with to ensure that they are nonprofits and they are in good standing. And once that's done, then they go ahead and start their relationship with them. A big component of that is funding. And there are 3 means of funding in which the RSPs provide this to their food rescue material reuse partners. And that's through donations, grants, in-kind services, or subcontracting. And what that is basically for monetary donations that can be done in the form of, again, it's money that's given to the nonprofits to hire full-time drivers to focus on specific food referrals, purchasing of vehicles, equipment, which is in great need, freezers, forklifts, scales, provide consultation, outreach and education with potential clientele, hire administrative support to coordinate volunteer hours, manage, hire additional drivers, track deliverables, and compile monthly reporting, which is then given to the RSPs, who then report that back to LA Sanitation, where we track this information and see how much is actually being diverted, rescued, and again, provided to those who are in need of food. The in-kind services, that would include things such as providing waste bins, waste hauling services, collecting food waste to be either composted or sent and processed for energy. Subcontracting, there's an expenditure, so the food rescue organizations, they will invoice the amount of food that they collect, give those invoices to their recycler partners, and then through an MOU, they determine how much cost per pound they will be reimbursed for, and then they pay that back to the food rescue organization. So again, 3 different methods of providing the monies that are associated with this food rescue program that's part of Recycler. Next slide. So when I talked about the funding, how is the funding managed? So within the contract, each RSP has to provide an equivalent funding of $1,000 per 100 customer accounts annually. So currently with the 160 current accounts, that's about a little over $650,000 that's available to the food rescue and material reuse organizations. We recognize that that's not enough, but without this program, that money would not be available in the first place. So as I mentioned, because they provide us with monthly tonnage reports, we have been able to compile, what's happened since January 2018 when we started collecting this data through September 2020. So that's 2 and 3/4 years. And to date, we've been able, through this program, rescue 9,241 tons, or the equivalent of about almost 18.5 million pounds. I think it's the federal government estimates that 1 meal is 1.2 pounds, so that's the equivalent of about 15.4 million meals that the Recycler program has been able to contribute to those in need of food. As far as the funding goes, again, there you go. It's almost $1.5 million. So again, it's not a drop in the bucket, but it is a good amount, and it has had an impact in assisting with the food insecurity that we find in Los Angeles. Next slide, please. So just briefly, I'm not going to go over all of them, but there are 21 partners who our Recycler service providers work with. And here's a list of them. So you can see it is a wide array of rescue organizations, including the Food Policy Council, Harbor College, food banks, UCLA Pantry, St. Francis. A lot of these I'm sure you are familiar with and you have heard of. Next slide. So again, this is just a 30,000-foot overview of what the Recycla program is. We can go into more detail. We could spend, breakout session discussing it, but I think we just wanted to share with you guys what we've done thus far. We're very proud of working with our Recycla service providers and the food rescue partners that they have joined with to help offset the need that there is as far as providing food that would otherwise be disposed of to the people who are truly in need of it. And with that, if there's any questions, I don't know how you want to work that, Alyson, or if you want to just do breakout sessions, so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, well, let's do it. Let's have you put out a breakout table then, because we've got a packed agenda today for everybody, and I'd love to try to keep as close to that agenda as possible. So yeah, let's put you at a table for a breakout session. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right, let's
do
it. Cool.
All right.
All right, and so thank you, Gerry, very much. And if you'd like, you can now turn off your camera and your mic, and that'll take you off the stage. And then the next person I'd like to bring to the stage is also somebody we couldn't have done this without. It's a nonprofit organization and for-profit called elePlate that is new and doing really exciting, fun things. And this is, hold on just a second, Bryan Pauquette, the co-founder of elePlate and the co-director of the Community Exchange Program. So welcome, Bryan.
Hi, everyone. As Alyson said, I'm Bryan Pauquette. I'm the co-founder of elePlate and co-director of the Community Exchange Program at Hollywood Food Coalition. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I think creating spaces like this is super important. It's great for everyone to meet each other and learn what everyone's working on and start to create concrete plans and projects and collaborations to create the solutions that we want to see happen in 2021 and beyond. Food recovery and is just extremely hard, and it's resource intensive, and it's being executed by organizations with limited resources. So it's important we make each other stronger. Like many organizations here, I'm sure we had to pivot our business in 2020 due to the ongoing pandemic, and we're now taking a more digital focus to what we're trying to accomplish, and we're currently revamping our website to match what we actually do now. And tomorrow, I'm excited to announce we're launching a pilot with Postmates, Panda Express, and Hollywood Food Coalition, where we're going to deliver food to the exchange at Hollywood Food Coalition, which is currently receiving food from over 130 business donors and recovery organizations, and efficiently sharing through our concierge model with over 60 social service nonprofits. In 2021, elePlate's going to be growing our food recovery efforts. We're also going to add a component, which will feature free remote learning opportunities through workshops and online video courses. We'll also be launching a shop with products and services with sustainable products and services aimed at food businesses to both help the companies creating these amazing tools and the food businesses to become more sustainable and improve their bottom lines. So if you're interested in learning more or donating food, receiving food, taking advantage of the educational opportunities next year, or listing something in our shop, please get in touch. Or you can fill out the form by clicking our banner on the Remo floor, or the form that's going to be sent an email afterwards. And with that, I'm going to kick it to Alyson, our wonderful host today, who's done an amazing job preparing this event and is the co-founder of the food donation app, Careit. So thank you, everyone, and take it away, Alyson.
Thank you so much, Bryan. Yeah, I am excited that I have an opportunity to put on the second of this kind of this event with Athens Services and Recycla. We'd like to have these happen more often, primarily because we have a really strong, amazing community here of food rescue organizations and of cities and for-profit organizations that are local, that are really working on solving the major issues of food insecurity and of greenhouse gases that cause climate change. What we have here is, in my opinion, unparalleled to other places. You know, San Francisco area also has a really great group of people, and San Diego as well. And in LA, we've managed to have so many monumental things happen, such as this Recicla program, when it comes to feeding people and providing the resources necessary for that. So what the point of today is, and what the point of future workshops is, in my opinion, really resonates with a personal philosophy that I have, is that the problems that we're facing as a society that are causing food insecurity, that are causing climate change from greenhouse gases, is that resources are not being distributed correctly, that there's a lot of competition for resources, that there's not a community collaborative. And there's always a need to try and grow and increase. And what happens is you get these multi-million, multi-billion-dollar organizations coming and not really having a clear understanding of the locality of what we have here, the locality of our individual problems, our individual community members. And what we have, everybody in this room, everybody in this workshop today, is a really strong understanding of that. And what I want to see happen, and what Athens Services wants to see happen in Recicla too, is a collaboration instead of a competition. We have the ability to share with one another, to come together. And part of when I had you guys sign up on the lafoodwaste.com, that was to show you that there is a platform that is free for all of us to use, to connect on the forum, to share information and ideas, to advertise ourselves, and to connect hopefully with the people that we're eventually going to be helping. So please feel free to use that website. And also this website, Remo, is set up to network, which I didn't want to have a stale presentation where you're just going to be listening and learning. Half of this is set up for that, where we have some really excellent presenters, such as Cal Recycles here today. We've got Emily Parker, formerly of Food Forward. We've got Marianne Kulikoff. We've got Jessica Aldridge. And then half of it's also going to be for chatting. So the way that this is set up is that we're all sitting at tables when we're not presenting, and we're all able to chat with one another. You turn on your camera, you turn on your microphone, and you say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. Who are you? What are we doing? What's going on?" Another way that we have this interacting today as presentations are happening is in the Q&A. So if you can see on your screen right now, you've got my face. And then if you look to the right, there's the chat, where some of you are currently chatting and introducing yourselves. You've got the list of participants, where you can actually see who's in here, and you can directly message them. You can also look at the business cards of people, where we've got LinkedIn links and other scheduling links there. And then in the Q&A, as people are presenting, you can list a question. And it's like Reddit in that you can vote on the question. So that's kind of cool. As questions are happening, we can vote on which questions we want answered. So in addition to the Q&A session after each presenter, there's also going to be breakout sessions. That starts at 11:20, and I'll explain how that works a little bit before it happens. But that's where we'll be in a table, and there'll be up to 8 people, where you can more directly communicate and ask the questions for the presenters that were here today. And then also some extra really cool people that wanted to share their topics and views and knowledge with y'all too. So during the presentations, if you do want to ask a question, please use the Q&A. There is a feature where you can raise a hand, but for the most part today, we will be using Q&A instead of the hand raising, just to save time. And then if at any point you wanted to look at the agenda for the day, on the upper right-hand corner next to the Remo logo, there's a little calendar, and that has, if you click on that, that has our run of the day, the agenda for today. when we're out of presentation mode, you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen that there's 2 floors. And the second floor is actually where we're going to be going for our breakout sessions, so you can move around there. And then also you'll be able to move around to different tables just by double-clicking on a seat that's empty. So you can see who's at a table beforehand by hovering over their little avatar. And then you can join the table if there's an empty seat.